Hey everybody, Creative Katie, Karen Burchill here. Welcome to my channel. Have you tried this? In this video tutorial, I am not only going to create an art journal page, I am going to give you some tips, tricks, and techniques that, well, I think you're going to want to try. So I am working with the Cosmos Infinity collection from Stamperia. I've got the collectibles one, I've got some rice papers, I've got a calendar that was made by that. Now, if you want to maximize the use of your scrapbook pads in art journaling, you want to go and check out this video of mine. Get bang for your buck. I show you lots of ways to maximize and use up every little bit of your collection. And on to today's project. So this is the Infinity set, and one of the things that I did is I released the images. I want the focal images, so I either cut them right out or kind of rough cut it so that it will fit in the 7x10 envelope. And I'm going to show you why I want it into there. Now, here's an example of harvesting elements of it. There's this beautiful border on the side. I could use that as a border on an art journal page or use it as inspiration to create a border. I really like it. This center panel right here, I like the blue border around it. I could always paint it out or put a piece of paper, a sentiment on it and use it. So again, go and check out that video and you'll get lots of ideas. But here I have a few extra ideas that I thought of because, I really am trying to use up what I have. So here's the 7x10 envelope. And so all my scrapbook pads, I've done the same thing too. And I keep them in this Dollar Tree bin. They're labeled and they're right next to my works area. So it's really easy to grab. Now, here's another way to maximize, make sure that you actually go and use them. This is my prompt pack, and it's available for digital download from NINNYSNAPKINS.com. There's 100 different prompts. But I thought, I wonder how many of these prompts I could use something from the Cosmos Infinity collection that I have. So I went through it and I discovered that there wasn't just one or two prompts that I could possibly use the Cosmos collection in. There were 10 of them. So I kind of have a plan. I've just gone through them. I know what's in there, so I'm going to plan for it. Now, here's my Playing with Prompts composition book. And what I've done is I've dedicated a page for one of two prompts. And so I have the prompts listed here. Now, under the prompts, the 10 prompts that I discovered that I could use this, I'm just going to write Infinity Scrapbook. And that, when I go to do that prompt, I can remember that I can go grab that plastic pouch. So sometimes I brainstorm other ideas on here. This is all about planning so that when you sit down, you kind of have a jump start to the rest of the page. So if you purchase my digital download, the prompts, I give you several ways of using the prompts. As I was going through all my Cosmos stuff, I also realized I have a sentiment pack called Reach for the Stars that will very likely have some quotes in it that work. So I went through my plastic pouch here of these sentiments and I wrote down the sentiments that could go with the various prompts. So one of the prompts might be dream if there was a quote about dreams or stars, and I would write it on there. This all helps you prepare. Now, the other thing that I did is I went through my stamps and my stencils and I pulled out the ones that, again, I thought I could use with the Cosmos Infinity collection. Now, I could write them in this book, but because they're all using that same pack that's in that plastic pouch, what I'm going to do is just write them on one card, and that card is going in the pouch, and all the planning is done. So right now, let's do one page, and I am going to use the prompt stars. Now, this is a piece of rice paper from the Cosmos collection. And I've taken out the focal images. I've used that for a different project, but I didn't throw this away. This is lovely collage paper. So don't ever throw away the little bits of rice paper that you have left over or scrapbook paper, because they can be used to jumpstart or start off a art journal page. All I'm doing here is I'm ripping odd shapes and I'm getting rid of the straight edges. I'm not a big fan of straight edges. Loving the colors. This is very cosmos, night sky. And I'm just putting this down. And my goal is to use up every little last bit of this rice paper. So I don't store it. My goal is to use it. Once I have it all done, I'm just going to glue this down with my fluid matte medium. I'm putting some underneath and some on top. And rice paper collages down like a dream. This is going to add texture to the paper page. It's going to add color. It's going to point me in a direction of a color scheme to create the rest of the background, so I don't have to start from scratch. I call this technique rip a strip, and it's great for jump starting your art journal process. So if you're stuck, pick up some collage papers that you like, rip them up, put them down. Try that. So these are Inktense blocks, and I'm going to add more color to my page using them. I'm looking at the swatched out colors, playing with the colors a little bit, and deciding which colors, which blocks that I want to use. If you haven't tried Inktense blocks, I highly recommend it. They're permanent when dry, but they act like watercolor. Now, here are a couple backgrounds from the Stamperia collection. I like the purples and the teals. There's not a whole lot on that of the rice paper, so I'm going to take my background in that direction. So I'm using the inspiration from that Stamperia scrapbook page. So the blocks you can use like a crayon, just scribble it down and then activate with water on a brush. Easy peasy. Now, the Inktense blocks, when you buy a set of them, they seem expensive, but they are, next to my acrylic paints, they are the most used color medium that I have. And as I was saying earlier, they act like watercolor, but once they are fully activated and dry, they are permanent. They will not reactivate. So if you put this down at this layer, when I go later and I'm gluing things down, it doesn't reactivate. It doesn't smudge and smear. And that's the way I like it. So you can scribble it down, or you can just wet a brush and rub on it and then paint. Either or. So here I'm just playing with it. I'm putting down a coat. I can build up the color, deepen the color, mix the colors wet and wet like you would watercolor. The Inktense blocks are also very matte, and they work really, really well with all the other mixed media products, and you're going to see that. I'm adding some teals, I'm adding blues, I'm adding purples, and you can see the rice paper that I put down first is these dark splotchy areas, but there's texture there. Now, if you don't have rice paper, you could put blank rice paper. There I just showed I didn't like the color that was there, so I just wiped it back. You have a little time to play with it. You could use rice paper, you could use coffee filters and put it down, and it's going to give a similar effect. So on here, they have some text. So I looked through my stencils and I found some text. This is called Medieval Music, and it has kind of some words on it, but it looks like it's in Latin or some medieval type. So what I'm going to do is stencil this on with white, and I grabbed a stencil brush. This is a very fine stencil, so getting paint through it is really difficult, but using a stencil brush really works. So if you haven't used a stencil brush, especially for fine stencils like this, give it a try. So I get it wet, get some paint on there, and kind of rub it off a little bit like you see me doing, and then stencil through the area. This stencil brush is from the Crafters Workshop. They have two sizes. I'm using the smaller one. because my area is smaller. I'm liking the look of this. It's very, very subtle, but a lot of the patterning that is in the Infinity Cosmos set is very subtle. These beautiful colors and then subtle markings. And I'm trying to duplicate that. I'm challenging myself to duplicate that. I don't need to be able to read this. I just want it to look like there is some script or text. Now, the prompt that I'm using is stars. So I want to make a night sky that is going to showcase stars. And I really enjoy making a night sky or ocean waters as well. So this was just a complete joy to work out. If you don't have Inktense blocks, use a watercolor if you have, or use acrylic paints. I just chose to use my Inktense blocks today because I love using them. So moving to the next step, I have this stamp from the Sacred Geometry Stamperia set. And it reminded me of the night sky. It reminded me of some of the patterning that I saw on that one scrapbook page or the calendar page. And I'm brayering on Prussian blue paint. It's a dark navy-ish color. I'm brayering that on and stamping. Now, because this is a composition book and pages have been glued together and there's a coated gesso and there's some rice paper on there, it's not a completely smooth, flat surface. So I'm not getting a complete stamp, and I don't care. I don't want to necessarily get that. So I'm just putting this a little bit all over. Again, I want hints of it, but I don't want this to be in your face. So we put the rice paper one level layer 1, colors layer 2, text layer 3. This stamp is layer 4. Layer 5, I am going to do some more stenciling through this chicken wire reversed stencil, and I'm going to use yellow oxide. And I chose yellow oxide because, again, on the scrapbook page, they have a lot of goldish colors, and I really liked it. And I chose this stencil because it's very fine and subtle. So when you are making a page, try doing multiple levels. The layers, I mean, will make the page. Every time you add a layer, it pushes everything back. It just makes it more complex. That's why we love those Stamperia scrapbook pages and the rice papers, because they have all these layers built in. Their artists have done that. And there is my background as it is. I am loving it. Now I want to add a focal image, and I chose this stencil from the Crafter's Workshop called Galaxy, and I'm going to use Tacky When Dry Medium, also from the Crafter's Workshop. I'm going to tape down my stencil because I want it to lie flat. I'm going to put this medium through the stencil, and I just want to be as precise as I can be. Now, the Tacky When Dry Medium goes on white and it dries clear. But when it's dry, it is tacky, and that allows you to put foil transfer sheets on top of it. So I'm just putting it on a key card and you pushing it through the stencil. This is the way I find I have the best luck when putting medium modeling paste through a stencil. So when I'm happy with the application, I am going to lift off the stencil, and now is the hardest part. You have to wait for it to dry. And you want to make sure you clean that off the stencil. So while it is drying, I have a little star stamp there. And on that makeup sponge, I've got some Prussian blue, and I am stamping some little navy stars all over the page. After all, my prompt is stars. So I want to put several layers of stars all around the background. And I just basically turn my makeup sponge into a stamp pad. Then I clean it all off. Oh, I'm still doing navy here. Now I'm using the same stamp and this time white acrylic paint. So I've got white stars and navy stars. I like using the same stamp, the same stencil in two different ways or with two different colors. I like the effect that that gives you. So if you like it, give it a try. So now I'm going to add another star. And on that galaxy stencil, there was this little star motif. And I am just going to do that. And I'm going to use my stencil brush to get through it. And I'm using champagne gold stencil butter from the Crafter's Workshop. Now, I do stop, and I didn't get that footage. You can use a palette knife and put this stencil butter through it, or you can apply it like you see me doing here. I've done both on this page, and both work. One's going to maybe give you more texture than the other. But if I tried gold paint, and I did, it was too flat and it wasn't opaque enough. And being the page is about stars, I really wanted stars. So while that galaxy stencil tacky when dry medium is still drying, I'm edging my page. I'm going with black acrylic paint and shading around the edges to frame my page. And you can see as I go with this wet medium, it is not lifting up the Inktense blocks. That is permanent. It's dry, it's been activated, and it is not reactivating. If this was watercolor or some other product that is water activated, it would smudge and smear right now, and you'd have kind of a white rim if you were doing this. You would have to shade using a different technique. It's workable, but you do have to do things in a different way. So again, I'm loving the background, but I'm ready to put the foil transfer sheet. Now these come from Crafter's Workshop, and you press it on the tacky when dry medium. So it's gone clear. It's tacky. I'm just using a bit of a key card here to press it down and then rubbing it with my fingers. You want to get good adhesion to this. You want good contact. But these sheets are so easy to work with, and the shine and shimmer from them, OMG. So if you haven't tried it, give it a try. It's so much fun, but I warn you, it's hard to wait for them to dry. And there we have it. Ooh, this is turning out so good. And look at that shimmer. The shine off of these, and they come in oodles of different colors. If the part doesn't have adhesion, you just put it back on and rub. Oh, love that shine. So now I need to pick a sentiment from my Reach for the Stars. I'm thinking I'm going to do this one, Shine Like the Whole Universe is Yours. I'm going to cut off some of that white. It's a very simple page. And then I'm going to audition some other ones. That one is too small. It fades away in the background. This one is too big, too many words, not for the composition of how I have it set up. This one, love the saying, but again, it's too big for the composition of what I've got going on. So just audition different ones. And then when you find one that looks good, it's like, oh, without darkness. I'm really liking that one. Go where the stars take you. That font looks good with it. That one, it kind of gets lost. But as you can see, there's lots of possibilities in that Reach for the Star sentiment pack. I decided to go with the ones with white letters and the black background. Without darkness, stars can't shine. And I cut the sentiment apart here a little bit, just for interest's sake. So as you can see, lots of tips, lots of tricks, lots of different techniques, lots of, stenciling, stamping, tacky when dry medium, stencil butter. Now I'm using my fine line applicator bottle with gold in it to outline my sentiment and the page. And then I'm going around the outside of the page, and it shows up all the more because we did shade with the black. Well, I don't know about you, but I really like how this turned out. It's simple, but layered and complex and just beautiful. So I used chicken wire reversed, medieval music, and galaxy. All the stencils are from the Crafter's Workshop, as is the stencil butter and the tacky when dry, the Stamperia stamp, sacred geometry, and the Infinity Cosmos, and my own sentiment pack. I hope you got at least one tip, trick, or technique that you can go and start using in your art journaling mixed media journey. Until next time, go get creative.